and welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons, and critically fumble a lot. Those of you who do watch, there are people out there. Some of them actually reblog us on Tumblr, guys. I don't get it, but you guys are awesome, so hey. You may notice that there is a difference in the layout today because we have a new player. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Harry. He's actually on my side of the Atlantic, so we've got yet another reason to try not to let things run over. But he will be joining us as Riswynn Hearthheart. This will be interesting for you guys. Quick introductions. Raise hand as I say your name. We will begin with Smeagol. This would be the little sister, Hazel, half-elf cleric. Show them why we call you Smeagol. We have to give him a chance to do it every once in a while, guys.
Trixie Herbertses, they stole it from us. Oh, I can taste that.
I so admire people who can do that voice, though.
I've got one more. It burns us. It freezes.
Okay, Marion. She plays Ava, our human ranger. She and I met here in the queue at MCM Comic Con. That was fun.
Awesome.
Antheus. Froseth, silver dragonborn monk. Very quiet. Ethan. Darvin Taylor with a Y. Human bard. Noms. Remy Crestwind. Oath of the Pact of the Celestial Warlock with a minor in Oath of Vengeance Paladin. And Ben. Nanyar Vanamar, Nye for short. Pact of the Archfey Warlock. Full-blood elf.
About those Archfey.
Yeah, I'm sorry, they're gonna fuck you up. They're Archfey. It's what they do.
Cappy Chappy has whole videos about that and why the Fae are assholes.
I think I give really good Archfey asshole, and it would be a waste for me not to use the opportunity.
I did write myself into this one, so.
And I was so delighted when you did. Anyway, you've now met everybody more or less. You'll get a reasonable feel for them as we continue down this cavalcade of madness. Previously on, the Cupcake Coterie. Yes, this is actually what they are called. I think that was as much clarity as anything else, have returned to Hearthhome, lovely little small holding in Goldendale, barony of Baronsvere, to find it in some not insignificant trouble. They dealt with part of that trouble in the form of murdering the almighty hell out of an adult green dragon who'd been posing as the seneschal for quite some time. Unfortunately, they didn't do or couldn't do very much about the army from the local king, who, as far as they can tell, is an ancient black dragon in disguise. It's a thing. But currently, the shrine, most of the clerics, and one of the Hearthhome children are stuck in the shrine under siege, and the local tavern is on fire. They had a little bit of interruption dealing with this when, 2 by 2, they started disappearing and turning up in little waiting rooms to await the pleasure of a couple of Archfey mostly His Majesty, I will know, holding a tourney at which they were the entertainment. Slaying of three blue wormlings and one young blue dragon, and one unconsciousness later, they got their asses deposited back in Hearthhome, with thankfully the return of Miranda Hearthheart and Lyra Sweetwater, who had both been plane shifted by forces unknown to apparently Avernus, where they spent like 3 days. But they're former mercenaries. They managed. So yeah, in the course of all that, over the few days since the Cupcake Coterie left Equitas, and specifically Egref, um, word has reached Riswynn that she somehow managed to miss her foster sister as she blew through town. Then the rumors started that, okay, the train tunnel between Gray's Inn and thus Baronsveer and Egref has been closed off on one side. The survivors were talking about an ancient white dragon taking out the capital, and apparently Hazel and company managed to get themselves out as far as anyone can see, but the general consensus was that home was in trouble. Riswyn thankfully has some favors with the local druidic types who run Druid Craft, one of Egref's many weird ass shops, and can transport via plants basically directly home. Probably at around the same time that Nye, after basically being eye candy at His Majesty's post-tourney banquet, more or less gets deposited back home.
How long is that after we arrived?
Probably about an hour. You guys are sitting down to Lyra's cooking, and he basically now finds himself teleported directly in front of the Fort Cupcake front door. You, meanwhile, have come out of a hazel tree on the opposite side of the property, so you have a choice of dropping in at Mom and Mama's to make sure they're okay, or going to the new house must be where Hazel's people are. But we'll begin with Nye, because currently he's just looking at the front door and the little sign that says Fort Cupcake.
Doorknob's door opens.
Yeah, everyone is sitting around the table when the door opens, and
Hey!
Thank the gods.
Hey,
You
Nye.
alright?
Hello, Nye.
Be nice, Ree.
You alright? It's not his fault.
Slowly
Okay.
inflating. The hair's going Studio Ghibli.
Hazel.
Hey!
Hand on Hazel's shoulder.
Stay on the other side. So basically, you're over and going, hey! Hey!
But meanwhile,
Are you
Alice's got a hand on Remy's knee under the table, so...
I'm just staying in that sort of vaguely fluffed up state, just...
It got your mother home.
That's why I haven't gone and it.
Will you stop it? Chill the hell out, jeez.
I am okay. Still like full poof, but not moving anywhere.
To be fair, Riswyn's probably hearing about half of this. Not anybody else, but that squawking noise is Hazel. She apparently has gained in volume in the 5-6 years that you've been away from home.
I don't think I can do other than come running in and say, "Hello, sister."
uh,
Huh?
Oh,
please,
there's another one.
please, Ray, please describe yourself.
4'1" hill dwarf, auburn hair, broken nose, nervous face. How's that doing for you?
So
Swivel.
basically, as Nye is standing just inside the door, trying to figure out what, if anything, to say
A
or
dwarf
do,
barges past him.
suddenly, dwarf!
Bellowing, hello, sister.
Refocus. And I've gone hypersonic.
Oh god.
Eyes mouth open. You can just sort of hear it, but everyone else is just
Hazel.
noise.
Hazel! First, hug the dwarf, then introduce us.
Hypersonic stops, and I basically yeet myself at my sister.
And I catch.
Okay, I'm gonna have to ask you to make a strength saving throw because you did use strength as your dump stat. It's amazing how many of you guys did that. It's great.
This is why I'm glad I didn't.
So we all get knocked over by Hazel at some point or another.
Well, not really.
I don't actually know how to do that on this system.
Oh, okay, if you go to your character sheet, and you see the little box on the left next to the stats that says saving throws, just click on strength.
When it loads.
Yeah. With Roll20, anytime you do something, a lot of times it's just clicking on the word, the name of it. We'll do it. Also, if you want to change at the very bottom of the chat, you'll see as so-and-so is a drop-down. You can click the arrow and you can swap between yourself as like your account or with the character you're currently playing. That's how to do that. I didn't know if you knew that already.
Well, for the moment, let's let him figure out the saving throw.
Right.
Yeah, if you go into the bit that says core, and there's the line of figures on the left-hand side, sort of upper and a little bit in, there's a box, words at the bottom say saving throw, at the top is strength. Just click the word strength and it'll...
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go.
Oh, and it's set itself to. I mean, they're so close. It doesn't matter. But let me just set it so that it doesn't automatically roll advantage toggle. There we go. I hate it that it does that, but I forgot to reset it when I first set up the character sheet. So yes, you do manage to catch the Ballistic Hazel because you're used to this by now. Although she was closer to your height back then. So yes, then Nye has to more or less step out of the way as Ballistic Hazel collides with Dwarf.
I'm just kind of gibbering. Nothing I'm saying makes any sense. It's just squeeing.
So normal then.
We'll let her get it out of her system. Nye, come sit down. You've probably eaten, but, like, get a glass of wine or something.
Are you alright?
I'm
And
unhurt, if that's what you mean.
And for the record, because you probably are already worried about it, well, I can speak for myself. It's cool. It's fine.
We know you're not. So don't you go blaming.
Put it to you this way. I'm the one that got the worst hurt. If I'm not pissed with you, now sit down and let's meet Hazel's
Sister,
dwarven
I
sister.
guess?
Well, same as Andri, Con, all the rest of
Adopted,
them,
so.
Fair,
And
fair.
hell, us.
pretty much. Hazel.
Use your words.
Still-
Use your words.
Still just gibber squee. Completely in fucking senses.
Okay, this doesn't translate that.
Do you
Oh,
want
I have a helm of comprehend languages on. That's
Milady Dwarf, do you want to just kind of haul your half-elven little sister in here so we can say hello to you properly?
I think that's best. Yeah, just come over here. So I'm Riswynn. Hi.
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 Rizzy is back as soon as possible!
I hear you saved my home.
Don't speak Paler, yes!
Okay, very briefly. Starting from Hazel description, auburn-ish hair, hazel green eyes, big green bow, freckles
And,
across the
yep.
nose, and made of gibber squee. Ava, white hair, tucked into a bun, scar on one side of face, bluish eyes, kind of upright sort of posture, and mostly bemusement most of the time, to be fair. 6.5 foot tall silver dragonborn dressed in a gi. Kind of flashy, honey brown blonde haired individual with a proto violin strapped to his back and just grinning at the spectacle in front of him. Human woman not that much taller than you, maybe 8-9 inches taller than you are. Probably hasn't taken off her armor yet because this is Remy. Short, mussy brown hair and an expression of oh my god.
Yeah.
There's more of them.
Symbol of Tritherion on the front of her breastplate and around her neck.
No, she gave that to Lyra currently.
Oh, right, yeah, that's gonna come back later. So yeah, the symbol of Tritherion across the breastplate, but there's definitely more to that, but we'll get into that at some stage. Elf, darkish skin, one eye green, one eye half green, half hazel, short, punky white hair, and a look of absolute shamefaced bashedness, standing kind of awkwardly at a corner of the table. And woman a little bit shorter than Darvin, very unnaturally white gold hair, very pale blue eyes, quite pretty, but there's some muscle tone there, and generally looking amused and yet would like everyone to please start explaining things in a way that is less in the way of gibbering. Thank you very much.
I don't know. Did you say your character's name?
Yeah, she did say Riswynn. It was just getting drowned out by Hazel squeeing, receipt back, receipt back, receipt back.
Okay.
So whether or not you understood that is up to you. Sorry, was that Hazel? Hazel, was that Riswynn? Hazel.
Take that as a yes.
Some things never change.
Some things do, but her reactions to encountering family members, not so much. Alice, hi. Guys,
Oh,
Darvin.
So sorry. Ava.
Roseth.
Naya.
quiet one over here is Remy.
So you're a Hearthheart too then?
I think we're getting significant lag here. You were asked, are you a Hearthheart too?
My audio keeps breaking up.
Ah.
Yeah, just let us know when it does, and we will repeat ourselves. Well, given that Hazel was saying, and Riswynn herself here was saying, sister, I would assume so, because otherwise there's some really, really funky species race things going on that I don't think I'm in any way equipped to contemplate. Will you both just sit down? We've had a bit of a rough day. Week.
Life.
I'll sit down.
There was a bit of a dragon issue today. A bit of a dragon issue most of this week so far.
Freaking handbags all over the continent!
Maybe we should let Hazel explain
And,
this to you.
yes, please.
Hazel, you want to explain to your sister?
So the King in Black Crown's actually a black dragon. He's a giant jerk. And Tiamat's pissed at us all.
Apparently mostly me, because I've taken the killing blow on every dragon they've thrown at us, except for the 2 wyverns so far.
Yeah, she's kind of been lobbing dragons at us, either through the black dragon ass hat, the third, whatever his face is, up in Black Crown. We were actually in Equitas for a while and ran into a Draco Lich.
Yeah,
that was there.
a thing.
But blue, specifically.
Alice just hands Nye a goblet of wine.
It's just been one dragon of some kind after another, over and over and over, because Tiamat.
And
of course you miss the quiet life, I see.
I like your sister.
Everyone likes Rissy. Rissy's awesome.
I hate to bring this up, but isn't this all the information we weren't supposed to talk about?
At this point, is it No, actually, I don't think this is the information that we weren't supposed to talk about.
No, it's not.
And to be perfectly fair, at this point, I think they more or less expect us to tell people who wind up wandering into our gaggle of Yahoo, at least approximately what's going on. But no, we haven't mentioned the thing that got Darwin bunnied.
That's a whole other
He
thing.
spent a while turning into a rabbit.
I'm sure you're looking after my sister.
Sorry, can you repeat that? 'Cause I didn't hear it. I caught, like, the last bits about your sister, but I missed the rest of it.
Say again, please.
I need to be sure. What's all this about getting bunnied?
Yeah, that was a thing.
He got cursed by powerful people for Hazel not keeping her mouth shut, but we needed our healer not to randomly turn into a rabbit once a day.
Yeah, so I took the bunny on that. I'm not sure how that.
Yeah, that was the thing.
He's not doing it anymore.
Yeah, no, that's done. Oh.
Silent image. Bunny looking down from the top of a set of bunk beds. Contemplatively.
Yeah, a small lop the shade of Darvin's hair peering down from a top bunk going, Can you do the one where, didn't someone say he got stuck in a boot?
Oh, yes. I forgot about that. Yeah, it was thankfully it was one of my own, so at least the smell was not unfamiliar.
Yeah. Bard kind of goes poof. Then after a second, Bunny head pops out a boot and looks around.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Actually, to be fair, the boot fell over, but this is funnier, so we're leaving it.
But Hazel, you forgot the green.
That was that. The seneschal around here, he was a green dragon.
Also, apparently, was the
also-
reason your taxes were so fucking high.
Alice kind of popped his head off.
Also, he had some people arrested, but they're okay now.
Yeah, we got mom out of the absolute stupid that was that prison.
Also, Keth and Skylar. Apparently,
Sorry, what happened to Mom?
she got locked. She got turned to stone and locked in a cage because they don't take chances with powerful wizards. Also, Miranda, Mama, she got plane shifted to Avernus, but she's back now.
They're all fine.
We still have to go
Everyone-
get Candor, but
Yeah, everyone is okay. Almost. Everyone, the family is okay. The townspeople. Barreras didn't make it. And unfortunately, neither did Edwina.
They had her in stocks after whipping her for a while. And they kind of barred the clerics from doing magic until we turned up with a dragon's head and interrupted them trying to execute Hearthhome's newest tiefling adoptee.
That'd be Candor.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a mess, but everybody is safe as far as we know, and now, I mean, yeah, we do need to try and make sure that Candor's not in the middle of the shrine, but then we're supposed to go and try to collect armies?
something more than just the town, because I kind of don't want this place getting invaded again, thank you.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, the golden bow is on fire!
To be fair, it's probably not anymore.
If there's any of it left!
That's
I didn't hear the half of this.
Well, the thing is that Goldendale, and to be fair, Baronsvere in general is kind of made of podunk, and nobody in Equitas talks to anybody over here except slightly through Gray's Inn, because the guy running this particular country is an ancient black dragon and also an asshole. So, of course we don't hear about it over in Equitas. I'm originally from Belarus, so... So's Ree. But yeah, no, what did you hear? Why? Sorry, not that I'm not happy to meet you, and Hazel being squeeful in the face of some of the bullshit that's been going on is great to see. Don't get me wrong. But how and why are you here?
I heard there was big trouble back home.
Oh, great.
I had some favors to call in. So here I am to help. I didn't know it was this big trouble.
Well, now you know, and now you know. I mean, if you're here to, I mean, are you here? Here's the question, because we've also got Condred. He's also back here, but that's because we met him in Gray's Inn and managed to get him out before the big white dragon trashed the place. Are you here to help in town, or are you here to help Hazel?
Family is family.
Bounce, 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 bounce.
To be honest, you know, I think that, I mean, are you good with adventure, occasionally rooting through, like, ruins and other kinds of things, and occasionally saying things like, I have 2 words for you, Mr. Dragon, Eldritch Blast?
Yeah, that's the thing. We've
Yeah.
been running into a few dragons.
Oh, no.
I quote that because it was impressive.
Yeah, that was freaking awesome. Come
It would have been
on.
better if I hadn't missed.
Oh, we just leave that part out.
Yeah.
And then
You
promptly
will
got
hit
myself
next time.
and then promptly got myself toasted.
Not
You were
promptly.
not
That
the
took
only one who
Try
got
not to do
toasted.
Hey,
Yeah,
it wasn't
there were 3 of us
promptly.
that
It
got
took a few
toasted.
minutes.
Please don't remind me I got other people toasted too.
Do you want to come and help keep your little half elf sister out of trouble?
I think that would be for the best.
Cool. Welcome to the Cupcake Coterie.
An interesting name.
That's a bit of a long story, that.
Good thing we have a bard, huh?
A.
2 bards.
Yeah, I was about to say, hang on.
Thank you very much.
Not actually the bard's fault.
What am I, chop liver?
That name happened.
I
was
was
trying to say
sure
something
she was
about
talking about you. Most people just remember me for screaming obscenities in
things really
something's
hard.
face. Yeah. Nobody seems to forget the heat metal. The heat metal was awesome. Plus, I have spectacular new trick. Watch this. And disguise self to look like Riswynn. And in really credible Riswynn voice, if I can watch someone for about a minute, I can more or less impersonate them. And back to her normal form.
That's really cool.
Somebody took the actor feat.
Process, you were trying to say something before?
Sorry, family reunions are probably a little weird. You okay, dude? Now everybody at the table is looking at the Dragonborn.
No, I had nothing.
We didn't get a chance to ask, how did the bonding with Faraday go? Well, we have a second.
right.
Great.
Is it that you're uncertain that it went great, or that you're realizing it went great and now we don't know what to do with that?
Or both.
Second one.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an adjustment. Just give it time.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we will. They'll make sure she'll be okay. We'll make sure you can get back to her.
I'm going to.
You got another new.
Oops.
Poor dude with technical difficulties. But, hopefully, when he comes back, it'll be a bit more sturdy. Yeah, Ethan and I are still a little, apparently, coffee snoofly.
I am going to detach myself from bounce over to Froseth and glump.
Pat, pat.
Welcome to the definition of a found family. Don't worry, Froseth, I don't know what to make of it half the time either. Reassures me that you don't quite get used to it, but you incorporate it into your life somehow.
That is a very good way to put it.
So, okay, we apparently have new addition to the found family as well as the adopted one. Maybe we should discuss what next.
Well, I'm gonna pull out the Warren's key. If we can get me into the shrine, I can get everybody out of it. Elsewhere, ideal specifically here.
Well, if we can get Darvin close enough, can't he dimension door you two in the... I mean,
If so,
it's 500 feet, so you can probably do it from cover, can't you?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
That's
And
right.
I've been in there enough times; it shouldn't be a problem as far as picturing where I'm going, type of thing.
Didn't you see
I don't
the
even.
pantry?
Yes, I believe I did. Yes, as a matter of fact. Yes.
But after we do that, we're still gonna need a longer term thing.
yeah. After that,
I think Discord just decided that it needed to reset itself.
Okay, that wasn't just me. Okay, good.
That was
I saw that. I was
everybody.
like, oh god, am I having a seizure?
My screen is now saying US Central instead of Europe.
Sauce is running.
Yeah, basically.
that's all we care about.
Yeah, basically, and actually it looks like Harry's moving smoother, so hey.
Hooray! That makes no sense whatsoever.
It's Discord, it's not supposed to.
Hence the name.
That was awful.
I'm sorry.
But appropriate.
Well, there's also the raid.
Yeah, but I mean, apparently we sent Flitty with a note. You have some of the shrine fairy dragons living in the house, by the way. And a pixie.
July is awesome.
Hazel bought so much dollhouse furniture.
Yeah, Hazel did. I think I got a few pieces. So yeah.
Things aren't awesome.
Anything that doesn't make sense to you, just ask us to clarify and we'll throw a story at you. Darvin and I are bards to various degrees. It's what we do.
As far as what we do next, sorry, Ava, what?
Should we mention the other fairy dragon and the governor, maybe?
We rescued the governor, who
Yes.
wasn't responsible for the taxing. I mean, as far as I understand from Darvin's stories, Hazel was very much convinced that it was entirely the governor's fault they were being taxed into the ground. But then they turned up at the manor, and after the first time Tully got arrested, basically it turned out that it was the seneschal, the green dragon in disguise, who was doing all the bastardy at the behest of ancient black dragon asshole king.
Yeah, I mean,
I kind of wish we'd set his desk on fire then.
I
the
cut his
Baron,
head off. What more do you want?
believe it or not, the Baron is actually decent, a decent person.
He's recovering in your guest house, along with various members of Miranda's clan, who are helping retake the town of Goldendale.
Yeah, but there's a raid planned, or did that already happen? Out of character, I lost track of timing. I don't.
None of you actually ever figured out whether a day or so had passed, because you haven't.
That's what. Okay.
Martin seemed to indicate that no, that it was still impending.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what day. How we were gone for a bit. Again, and I'm not sure exactly how long. But if it hasn't happened, there's a raid planned where the Hearthhearts are going to, well, the clan are raiding the
Halfling clan that Miranda came from.
right are raiding the siege lines. We've sent a note to the watering hole of the actual town guard and let them know so that hopefully they can take advantage of the chaos and go from there. So,
But at the same time, they're thinking to try to get one of the Hearthheart kids, one of the adopted kids, out of the shrine before that starts, because the clerics and priests and everything else in the shrine are probably going to want to join in once this all gets started, and they probably don't want kid and whatever other wounded might be in there caught in the crossfire.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, Hazel, your idea about key. Good. Okay.
It's actually a very good idea.
Yeah. Kudos. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for tonight, and we would probably wind up being back up, just watching you two, making sure you've got a clear space to work.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, we've got a bigger picture to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or at least so the creepy lady with true sight says.
Mm. Out of the options that we were discussing previously, Hazel, I know, but I gotta go with your
The Elven Wild thing.
yeah, the Elven Wilds. I know, but
The what?
The Elven Wild, it's the next country to the west of here. High elves. A lot of tree, a lot of pomposity. Hazel.
What else do you get with elves?
Yeah, Riswynn would know that Hazel was dropped off at Hearthhome by some very snooty high elves who hadn't even bothered to name her until they dropped her with Twilly and Miranda at age like 5.
I don't want to have to deal with the entire
We do what we gotta
country
do,
full of
Hazel.
knife-eared jackasses.
Hey, Ree had to deal with Carter. I had to deal with my parents. Darvin had to deal with his. Ava's gonna have to deal with, well,
The psycho bitch.
we all have to deal with stuff.
Yeah. I'm not gonna like it, but that's probably the best choice.
We're all going to be doing things we don't like, so gotta get used to it.
Yeah, it's good that you're saying that, Ava, because we're gonna have to cut through Cedar Grove to get to the Elven Wild.
Yay!
But we're probably gonna have
to go there at some point.
Yeah, but we're probably gonna have to avoid the major settlements. Darvin?
You are going in the brain space. What did you come up with?
well, I'm just wondering. I mean, last I knew, my old man was in that direction, so I'm wondering where he might have ended up and if he might be able to help in some fashion.
You know where he ended up. You told me where he ended up. Froseth said he saw in the water that he went to Cedar Grove, which is unfortunately the capital.
Oh, out of character. Out of character. I thought Cedar Grove was the whole thing.
No, the Cedar Grove is the whole country, but much like Goldendale,
Ah.
they're not very creative about their names.
Okay,
No,
I misunderstood when he said when that was said. I thought all I knew was he went to Cedar Grove, not Cedar Grove, the capital. Now I follow.
And
Gotcha.
he might,
Okay.
and I mean, he might be helpful, but that's more of an end game thing. I would have thought more if you can cope with it, the Baileys of Suntree. You said Clarity wrote to them, so they'll at least know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's someplace we can hit and resupply if we have to.
Hmm.
But we've got enough to do tonight, from the sounds of it. So, welcome to the insanity. We're fighting a god.
Yep.
Like insanity.
Because we never do anything half-assed. It's whole ass or nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, at least we're telling you before you get involved.
I appreciate it. I can see why my little sister likes you.
Well, you know, she must do the lengths she went to keep me around are a little bit insane.
You know how some clerics can pull people back? I kind of did that before I was supposed to be able to. I'm not entirely sure how. It was toasty.
At least part of it might have had something to do with the fact that I'm not human. I'm basically to celestials what tieflings are to demons. I'm Azamar. So a teeny bit celestial.
well.
So apparently
What's
someone had a vested interest in keeping me around. Besides Hazel and Ree and
I was about to say.
Yeah.
And Fairy Dragon. Fairy Dragon gave up their whole blue.
Yeah,
It was
that
a
was
thing. I'm still a little weirded out. And then they wonder why I do the shot blocking. Seriously.
that was Flitty, who you'll meet soon. Ish.
Speaking of fairy dragons, should we bring that up?
Oh,
I think.
well, it is a bit of a sight.
I'm sorry, how many fairy dragons were there?
To be fair, to give you an update, the reason they're bringing up multiple fairy dragons is because in the multi-faith shrine at Goldendale, the cleric of Palor, Lyra, who's actually back in the main house, sorting things with the adults and the younger kids, she runs a fairy dragon rescue. So she normally has up to a dozen at any one time, just flying around and outside the shrine, just being happy instead of being abused by nobles who've decided to keep them like canaries in two small cages. So yeah, Riswynn would have grown up with the shrine, whichever gods she happened to like the worship of, and a whole lot of fairy dragons peeping at her because, given your languages would be Common, Dwarven, and probably Halfling, you wouldn't have understood any of the languages they have. So, mostly fairy dragons just roosting on your head, your shoulders, and peeping at you. Cheerfully. Happy fairy dragons. Tiny, tiny dragons with butterfly wings. So they're talking about the other fairy dragons and looking like end of the world has happened.
When the Crown's Guard showed up and started arresting people and they entered the shrine, a lot of the older fairy dragons went invisible. A lot of the younger ones either couldn't or didn't think of it and made a whole lot of ruckus, and the Crown's Guard took offense to this and killed them and hung them off of the tree, one of the tree in the center of town. So that was a thing we wanted to avoid sort of springing on you because it was a hell of a sight.
Plan on wrathful revenge?
I think we
A bit.
got some of that. To be fair,
Yeah.
you know, given the seneschal was the one giving the orders, and as far as I'm aware, his head is still lying at the foot of that fucking tree.
And as for the crown guard, that shatter when we were running.
I'm still most impressed by the heat metal. I've never done that before.
True,
Yeah,
but that
you
shatter
basically
was
set a guy
rather
on fire.
not even. There was no flame. It just boom and drop.
Well,
No, I'm talking
smelled
about
like
the metal heating.
bacon.
He just. Yeah.
to be fair, the cloth underneath probably started to smolder there for a while.
And, okay. That actually reminds me. We've still got Rick in the treehouse.
Ah,
Oh,
yes.
right, that's true.
With all the kids.
As we were making our way, we ran afoul of two wyverns and their riders.
I was not involved in this. I was conning my way into the tower and stealing the keys.
Brilliantly, am I not?
Yeah, again.
Still wish
beautifully
I'd been there to help dispatch the fucking wyverns that were clawing the shit out of you guys. But still.
done. Yeah, I ended up with.
Tells me there will be more.
Yeah, I ended up with the wake. I got knocked out and woke up with the spleen in my lap.
Silent image, Remy scoring the slash with everyone
I'm
else in
never
the
gonna get
slash
tired
zone.
of you doing that. That was awesome.
The spleen landing right on me along with all the other bits, and if I remember correctly, when I woke up and looked down, my first thought was, "Is that mine?"
No, if it was yours, we'd never have left it on the outside.
Aw, love you too.
I don't think spleens are necessary though.
Better not try to find out.
Anyway.
Not with anyone we like.
So we ran into
Depends how hungry you are.
these
turns out that some of the people the Crown's Guard have running around with them are not there willingly. Rick being one of them, he was one of the riders. He kind of got dragged along because he raised wyverns, apparently. And we basically knocked him over, but he lived. And when he came to, I sent him off to the tree house, the one in town, the one just outside of town. The kids kind of tied him up for a bit, but after I brought food and an explanation, that got sorted. So he's still over there. They're still in the tree house, and
Goldendale kids are badass.
there was a lot of like improvised spheres and stuff.
Oh, also, apropos of very little, Skylar has apparently decided that she wants to be a paladin of Bahamut when she grows up. Points at Froseth. Kinda his fault.
And nobody fucks with home ever.
And now his sister's here, who was probably raised in the faith, and that's gonna get really fascinating. You should meet some of the, because you left before Hazel grew up and started cleric training.
Yeah.
There's new kids. You probably got letters.
Oh,
Well, I assume
speaking of people,
Which reminds me, I need to speak to Faraday myself.
speaking of new people, we should probably mention Shinaira just so they don't.
There's a drow in the
Oh.
basement. Let's leave it
Yeah.
at there's a drow in the basement for now,
Right.
guys.
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
She's
Which
a-
just sounds like the name of a story.
She's a survivor of Gray's Inn. She was living in the Underdark there. She's one of the few untainted drow left. And, she's young for a drow. And she kind of wanted to live, so now she's living in the main house basement. Although with the sun coming down, she's probably going to be out patrolling. Mind your feet, she sets snares.
Hence why I mentioned them.
Silent image, vague humanoid figure hanging upside down.
You mean vague dragonborn figure hanging upside down?
Yeah, that was me.
To be fair, that was also Miranda's bitch of a mother.
Yes.
Hazel.
Oh, let her
Chill.
tackle. She's probably
Oh,
not going to
baby.
have a chance. There's a knock on the Fort Cupcake door.
Stop. Open.
Lyra. You'll have met Lyra. She's been a friend of the family for quite some time, and Hazel basically spent most of her sort of 7 to 12 years in Lyra's company. She's the cleric of Palor, halfling, bright red hair, bandage across her eyes. You can just about see little acid burn scars coming down from the edges. I didn't mean to interrupt, but first of all, I brought cake. Oh,
Yay!
Riswynn! It's been quite some time.
Hi, long time no see.
You're going to have to check in with Twilly and Miranda. You know that. They will be devastated if you don't. But it's good that you started here because they're probably going to need someone of your skills.
Well, I heard my sister's voice, and it does sound like they could do with all the hand.
Someone subtle would probably be very, very helpful at this stage. I
Blushing.
did bring cranberry apple cake, and I need a quiet word with Aveline, Nanyar, and Remy. If you wouldn't mind meeting me in the prayer room, sets down the cake.
All right. All three of us. or
Remy
one by
looks
one,
to
or-
Nye and Ava.
At the same time, or one on one?
Nye and Ava can come together. Remy, I need to speak to alone.
Okay.
You two, come with me.
Follow.
Shuts the
Looking
door.
at Nye like.
Take time.
Leans out. Actually, Riswynn, if you could come along. If you're coming with them, you need to be part of this.
Other confused look at Nye.
They've really pushed the boat out with this new second house. Fort Cupcake has a prayer room. Apparently, there's a lot of prayer-oriented people in this group. So settles down just in the nice little room with the various symbols. The most of them are. I mean, there's Palor symbol, there's Tritherian symbol, there's Bahamut, Baori. That's it for the moment, but more can probably be added if they need to. Alright, I'm not sure how much they explained, Riswynn, but beyond issues with a certain queen of the chromatic order, there's a darker force at work, from which you will all need some protection. Darvin, Remy, Froseth, and Hazel already have that protection. I've doubled down on Remy's because she originally got it from Tritherian, and I have a feeling that they have an understanding, but they're not quite on the same path as they used to be. I need something that you wear all the time that means something to you. A piece of jewelry, something that I can hook a protection to.
Well, there's this ring. It was one of the first I ever made. I'm rather proud of it.
That will very definitely do. It has your intent on it as much as anything else. Cups it in her hand, and you can just about see the radiant sort of shine from in between her fingers. When she hands it back, it's entirely unchanged, but when you put it back on, there's a brief feeling of I am protected from what I don't know, and I don't want to, so it's good. I am protected.
Hmm. Hmm.
Would they ever manage to salvage anything other than the family sword?
I imagine that, I mean, she might have a pendant that she didn't take off, a gift from
Right.
her
Yeah, I
mother
was sort of thinking that.
for a a milestone birthday.
Right.
Does the same thing, hands it back. I'm sure Nye would have something, make something up.
Now he's realizing just how few possessions he actually has. But there are these socks.
Oh, that's true. Oh, that's
So,
cute.
looking rather embarrassed, he slips off his boots, takes off his socks, considers them, prestidigitation, and hands them over.
At least you remember to do that first.
She just
If it helps, they came from here in the first place.
I know where they came from. I can feel the intent on them, but I hope you don't mind wearing them for basically every mission you ever undertake. Balls them up in her hands and focuses for a moment and then hands the socks back.
My socks are protecting me.
I am not allowed to fall over again.
If you stopped rolling when you loved, you wouldn't. But I think that's probably a bit too much to ask. Okay, you have your various protections. Could you possibly send Remy in here? Because, well, she has her own. Nye, if you think you have few enough possessions of any meaning for you, you're not the only one.
I don't remember if you mentioned what protection this was from.
They mentioned they mentioned the fog, the black ooze. It's and obviously it won't protect you permanently if you bathe in it. But if, say, an accident happened and someone managed to get it splashed on them by accident, as Ava remembers seeing 2 people do, it won't taint you. Not without repeated and prolonged exposure. Riswynn have them explain to you insofar as they can. That's sort of the next step after dealing with Tiamat-related issues. Now go on, I need a word with Remy.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Walking and looking at his feet and walking and looking at his feet and
Yeah, you guys just see him sort of walking with his gaze focused entirely on his feet.
Eyes forward, 9.
They're nice boots, yes.
Remy goes into the room once she sees the others stepping out.
She hands back Remy's Amulet of Tritherion. I've doubled down on your protections. I do have a bit of an issue with Alice. I had some issues with not having enough of any immediate emotional value. Uh, thus, socks. Alice lacks socks. At least of meaning enough to find a hook. I spoke to the little ones, and while I don't know how demonstrative you normally are, but I have a feeling that a gift from you that's a bit more permanent than wyvern dentition it would probably be something that I could actually link to. So Oscar has donated and holds up a small bag, which is apparently full of jumbled, slightly amateurish jewelry pieces. Nothing overly expensive, but a wide variety of styles and things. Pick something and give it to her so I can make sure she doesn't turn into something horrible.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Quite all right. I'll deal with that separately. I'll leave you to explain things to Riswynn. Find something gift-worthy and eat your cake. I'm sure there'll be a distractible moment when Riswynn greets Twilly and Miranda, so that I can get the blessings done. Pats Remy on more on the back because I mean she's still a halfling. She's like 3.5 feet tall, so pat and walks out. I'll see you later when Riswynn drops in on Twilly and Miranda. Enjoy the cake. Click.
Remy goes back, sit down, get some cake.
Okay. Cake! Yay!
So that was a thing. Okay.
Okay. Cake is very tempting, but it seems like I need to Mama, so I'm gonna go do that.
Hazel, you want to
There's-
go? You want to go with?
Bounce, following. Just bouncing.
So yeah, basically, if you have a look at the map, insofar as I can scroll it to the appropriate places, Fort Cupcake is the one at the top here, and the regular house is the one on the side there. So, you guys tromp across. It's getting on to winter now, so it's kind of cold and a little bit muddy, and but I mean you've got a decent cloak, so you're probably okay. Um, but still a little nip in the air. And into the main house where, again, full of kids. And you've read the descriptions for most of them, I think. And there's a yellow fairy dragon and a pixie sitting in the rafters. And Jaloy, Hazel will notice, has the little bitty easel and is trying to paint Sunshine. And little 4-year-old gnome peers up and goes, "Hello, Miss Dwarf Lady!"
This is
And Twilly and Miranda are just, "Riswynn!" And bustle over for varying degrees of hug. It's very good to see you. I'd say shame about the circumstances, but come in. I take it, and Twilly's, I take it you called in some favors at either the family or Druidcraft or someplace like that?
Yes, at Druidcraft. You know how it is. I had to come home. I had something wrong.
Yeah, that went to a garbly place.
Mm.
So does that mean you're helping Hazel with her various bits of adventuring?
Yes, it looks like I'm going to be doing that. I sort of stumbled in. I heard her voice as well.
That
I
does
don't
not
mind
surprise me.
her, and it seems like
Fair enough.
I'd stay with her for a while, help her out a bit, you know.
She'll
Bounce,
probably
bounce, bounce,
she'll
bounce,
probably
bounce,
need all
bounce,
the
bounce.
support she can get, all things considered. Raising armies in the Elven Wild is probably going to require
She does
some.
seem to have a good.
They're a good group, but they didn't grow up with her in the same way, so it's helpful. And besides, we get to see you, and if you manage to stay around overnight, we can send you on your way with a belly full of pancakes. We haven't made those for Hazel yet, you see.
Glory to cake pans!
Riswynn is then sort of swarmed by kids who've heard stories about Riswynn. One of them is a very young dwarf boy who's holding up a bit of copper wire and amber chips and in sort of a brooch thing. I'm gonna be a jeweler too.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, materials. I think you'll be a wonderful jeweler.
Thank you. I'm gonna work with Xana and points to a little dark-haired gnome girl a bit older than the little redhead boy who first waved at you, because she does seamstressing and stuff, and we're gonna get real good at it. And when we grow up, we're gonna open up a shop and send lots and lots of money home.
Awesome bedazzling! Whoop, 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 whoop.
Skylar is actually up and about, and she and Faraday are very, very much thick as thieves in one corner of the table, just sort of waving at the new arrival. Hi!
Waving back.
Yes,
Zip.
that's Faraday. She's somewhat new to our group. I think we managed in letters about Evan and
Oh, I can
Lissy.
see them.
So yeah.
I know I'm not there, but sorry.
Mm.
I know I'm not there, but is Butterscotch around?
Is bumbling around under the table mostly, and actually, you've probably got Skylar picking him up and handing him to Hazel. Butterscotch is a small, plushy Toller Retriever puppy that moves and it looks much like a living puppy in most ways, except pretty obviously plush. And holds out this squirmy puppy to Hazel, going, "Could you give this back to Miss Ava, please? If there's gonna be adventuring, she probably wants her puppy pet back."
I picked up the little pupper and hugged Squidge briefly.
Tail going, put it in little paddling paws.
Just scratches, and generally just gonna stay there by Faraday and Emma being cute until it's time to go back over.
Yes, after the various hugs, Twilly and Miranda make up Riswynn's bed in the girls' room, at least until we can get a room made up. We know why Hazel doesn't want one, but you might like some space of your own. Um, but at the very least, we can.
It's good to be home.
Well, and come morning, we'll have pancakes before we send you off to further adventures. Hazel, Riswyn, are you adventuring further tonight, or are you actually going to take a bit of a break at this point?
In character, given how much trouble I'm having actually
Wha-
hearing half what everyone is saying.
Yeah, and we lost you there. And it sounds like there's a time delay on what I'm saying to you guys. Discord is
Yeah, I think so.
Discord is being a butt. I think at this point, what
Yeah.
we're nearly at the halfway point break time anyway. So what I think it would be best to do is basically settle on family reunion stuff was had prior to whatever further bits of adventure the adventuring group is going to do this evening. Take break now. Anyone who's having significant problems with their Discord, try the whole rebooting it thing, etc. And when we come back, we'll see about pulling Candor out of the shrine or whatever else you intend to do in that bit of madness this evening. See you in a few minutes, guys. And we're back. We've kind of lost Riswynn for the evening owing to technical difficulties, but we are going to be family friendly and say that she is having her huggy family reunion and being generally swarmed by friendly kids and shown various bits of shiny and all the other things you do when your big sister turns up out of absolutely nowhere and is going to wander off on a grand and potentially deadly adventure in the next 24 hours. So Hazel will wind up bouncing back full of arms full of butterscotch and head full of Farida and Skylar giggle squeeing in a corner. So yeah, you guys are finishing up cake and boom, in comes Hazel.
Bouncing over to Ava, butterscotch on her head.
Paddly paws.
What are you doing here? Hi,
Nuzzle,
buddy.
nuzzle.
What are you doing with him?
Bounce
Only
on
with
the
the
Dermot.
kids?
And glomp.
Are you going to tell Ava why you've given butterscotch back? recall Skylar said
Yeah.
to thank the Ava lady, but
I bounced over to Darvin, glumped him, and then gone. So Skylar and Faraday say thank you for the butterscotch.
Are you sure they don't want to keep him for a
If there's gonna be, they said if there's gonna be adventures, you're probably gonna need him back.
bit? Oh.
so
I did
Skylar's
miss
up.
the little bit.
Skylar's up and around then.
Yep. Skylar and Faraday in a corner being cute.
That's good.
And Butterscotch is still resisting any attempts to take him away from Ava's face for the nuzzling.
Alright,
Every
I'm
time it's
happy.
stretch, nuzzle, in that little spot behind the ear, just boop, 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 boop.
Scooch, 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 scooch.
I am now going to detach from Darvin and continue bouncing around.
Somebody's happy. I take it that your sister is catching up with the news from home before heading off adventurewards.
Maximum family reunions! All hail the power of cake pans!
Now or the cake pans were tomorrow morning. As an out of
Oh, that's tomorrow. But still, all hail the power of cake pans!
Not that I mind the hug. I'm just not sure why one was right then. But okay.
Cake pans?
We did
Pancakes.
we did explain this. She did explain this. You've asked this before. Pancakes. They're kind of thin, flat, fried, doughy things. Good with maple syrup.
Cake pans are best breakfast!
You will meet the infamous cake pans tomorrow morning. For now,
Yes.
for now we have stuff to deal with.
Double yes.
Okay, we've got a couple of options. I mean, we can all go as cover for Hazel and Darvin. Actually, to be fair, I think in both cases it involves us all going for Hazel to cover Hazel and Darvin. But if we get spotted, I mean, they can just out, and that's fine. But depending on how many of them there are, I do have a way of making it so that it's going to get a lot easier to hit them. It does mean, however, that they're going to be entirely focused on me. So you just have to take them down before they can hit me.
Oh, I can
That's
make
fair.
it more sneaky.
True, but his is going to get a little sparkly. You didn't see what Dimension Door looks like. Big purple gate. Big sparkly purple gate.
Oh.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's just the way it is. That's not me being fancy, for once.
Yeah, I'm not sure my spell would cover that.
No.
Look, big, purpley, and sparkly. I had to specify. That wasn't my idea for once. I mean, it's exactly my motif, but, you know.
Anyway, the way I figure it is, the most we're going to have to deal with is a patrol. So if we get attention, we can at least make sure that they're not going to see. Because what I can do will mean they don't notice anything but me. That includes big purple sparkly gate. And that's only if we do see someone. Although, all things considered, given the amount they're surrounding, they might be sending out patrols. I don't know. I'm just saying it's an option. And, I wanted to get the go-ahead before I did the thing. Because I know how some people freak out when I wind up making myself a target. Which I can't really help sometimes, because sometimes I'm glowy wings everywhere.
I'm
Remy,
not a fan,
keep silent.
I'm not a fan, but if we don't have any other choice.
I'm glancing at the look at Remy's face, just like okay.
Okay, deception and insight. Not
Wow.
bad.
All right. Hey, there you go.
No,
I'm buying it.
yeah, she's actually chill about this. Alisaie looks a little less sure, but does just sort of pat Remy on the shoulder. It's like, you will take anyone down before they can do any real damage. I have
Remy,
faith.
Remy smiles approvingly at that.
There you go. And we probably want to do this before, as much before the Hearth clan raids as possible. And given the light outside, if we want to do that before shit starts getting fucky, we need to do it now.
Yep.
Yeah, because we don't know what condition anybody wounded is going to be in, and we may need some time to get them movable.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got 6 seconds.
Well, I mean, previous to actually going through.
Yeah,
like,
but
that's what I mean.
still, you need to work out how many people need to get out.
Gotcha.
And how many you can get through in your 6 seconds.
Right.
Because it's not going to do any good to get them out if you guys get stuck in the shrine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still can only do that the once.
You'll beef up. And I'm still not overly magically beefy, but it's a start. Okay, we all suitably full of cake, coffee, and squee over family members?
We are ready.
Off we go. Are we stealthing straight away, or are we... Because it does take more than an hour to walk to...
We probably want to get a bit closer before we start using my
Yep.
spell.
Yeah, it's a few miles of walk, so... What's everybody's passive perception?
I'm at 13.
11.
13.
Okay, 13,
11.
13...
No, that's passive. Yeah, 11.
sorry, Furseth?
18.
You and Riswynn are gonna be their saving grace. Because her passive perception is also 18.
Nice.
There's... I mean, it's quiet at the moment. Furseth will notice lack of animal noise is quiet. Particularly as you get closer to town.
Okay.
Something wrong with that?
No animal sounds.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You're right. It's a little too quiet.
Hmm. There's no sounds at all, is there?
And there's occasional wind in trees, but...
That's it.
Remy summons your sword.
Running a bow.
For now, I guess we just keep moving. Might do to be
What's
a
on
little...
chase?
Probably not yet. Might do being a little quieter, though. If you all would like to roll me stealth. At least to start.
21.
18.
19.
Clunk.
No.
Thankfully,
20.
thankfully, the for I'm taking an average. I'll say rolled in at 20. It's amazing how a person with white gold hair reflecting the moonlight can vanish. And does manage to make enough between you all. You manage to make enough, you know, tree rattle sound that sounds natural and like the wind going through to cover up some of the creaks of Remy's armor. But in that stealthy vein, in the even in the rising dark, you get to within more sight of the town. The piecemeal is sorry, the golden bough is no longer on fire, but it is a blackened husk. Small chunks of the foundations are there, blackened, partially melted. That fire was hot.
I'm Studio Ghibli-ing, just quietly fluffing out.
The shrine is still surrounded, and there do seem to be enough of them to be sending out patrols. There's not a whole lot of cover in the area within 500 feet of the shrine. Not unless you moved further into town. Just move us back to the map. You'd have to scroll down. Yeah, they see the golden bough. What's left of it is there, way at the very bottom. And the shrine is largely, clear areas, but the only questionable cover is the small graveyard, and that's been kept clear of
Leave it on the counter.
trees and the rest of it.
Did you tap where the shrine was? Because if you did, I didn't see it because my character sheet was in the way. Okay, that is the building I thought it was. Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Just refreshing my memory.
Darvin, do you know where you need to go?
Yeah, it's that building right over there. Well,
You know
obviously, once rented.
where in the building?
Oh, yes.
And
And Darvin closes his eyes for a second, just pauses. I've got it.
Okay, this is gonna light up. This is probably gonna attract attention. So guys, get ready.
Gonna latch on to Darvin.
Yeah, Hazel, just
Ben
grab him.
is.
Maybe he shouldn't be standing right next to us when he does this.
I'm not going to be. I think looking at the distance, I'm gonna have to run toward it, aren't I? And probably do this pretty much on the move, right?
To be fair, he wants to do it near us because if they see a commotion, a noise, they want to be focused on people who are here rather than where did someone go.
Right.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
We can get a bit closer, but I wouldn't use Pass Without a Trace yet because once he gets started, it's
It's
gonna
not going to be any use anyway.
yeah. Better to save the spell power for something else if we need it.
Right.
I'll stick with your immediate stealth rolls so you can get to within 500 feet, which is not an insignificant distance, but you're starting to edge into the tombstones and you're actually starting to see small campfires and while you can't make out words, you can start to hear the murmur of guard voices. Okay, I am ready to take some attention if we need to. Go.
And I have Hazel in arm, and I'll do the little tap and kind of make the thing and dimension door.
There's as he and Hazel step through, they hear first. Well, Hazel and Darvin hear first far away and then quite close. More alarmed sounding murmurs, and when they port into the pantry, thankfully they manage not to land in any of the actual, barrels of flour and the rest of it, are starting to hear, wait, what the fuck was that? Go check it out.
Get ready.
A group of about 5, apparently a small scout party. Let me just, where are we gonna have to put you? Okay, so we've got Remy. Verseth. Point. Ava. Point. Nye. Point. And I can find where the oh, don't tell me I didn't upload it. Fantastic. Hang on just a second.
Oh man.
No, I've still got it. I just didn't upload it. It won't take but a second.
Oh, good. Okay, I was worried you somehow didn't.
No, I
Didn't get
got
it
it.
from me.
I just
Okay, beautiful.
I had other things to upload and didn't quite
Gotcha.
get around to it.
No worries.
Wait.
Still, I'm really pleased with how that came out.
Except it no, that one doesn't actually seem to be working for reasons I have no the hell idea why not. Crap. I mean, it did. It came out beautifully, but it's for some reason not actually showing up. Damn. Oh, come on. It's still not. Why the hell is it? Okay, fine. Oh, I think I see why. This really stupid, okay, let's try this again. There we go. Check. Oh, come on. I didn't have time to change the file size. Probably part of the problem. There we go. That works. Point. And so, there's a little more, actually there's probably a little more distance than that, so move it down that way, and there. As you start hearing the approach of guardsmen, which I will introduce for you, guardsmen. formation that way. Tromping up into your immediate range. LSA sort of steps around Nye and starts singing. It's Darvin's helm of comprehend languages can't actually pick it up. It's more vocalizing than anything else. It's got a very celestial tinge to it. And let's check their wisdom saves. No, 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 and yeah, as long as you guys are more or less in the shadows, these guys are not noticing anything but Alice, who's stepping a little bit further forward, and they're just going, "State your business." She's still singing. What's everybody gonna do?
Remy just watches very intently for the moment.
No, and
Just waiting for any sign of aggression.
they keep moving forward. They're still not paying a terrible lot of attention to you guys. Once again, it's sort of, ma'am, will you stop singing and state your business? She keeps going. There's a certain Darvin wouldn't actually notice, but I think Remy probably knows her well enough, and Froseth is perceptive enough to notice that there's a certain amount of, if you're gonna do something, either fight or run, because I can't do this forever, creeping into the general vocalization that's going on. While you guys think about that, Darvin and Hazel, you are now kind of squished together in a pantry. And there's a hiss noise, and what appears to be a coil of rope leans down, and you see a little draconic face.
Oh, I remember you. We're here to help. We're here to help. And
Strangers.
No, not strangers. Well, it's been a while.
No, you've heard of him. You never really met him.
Oh, that's right. Right. I'm gonna open the door.
There's a certain amount of freak out, and crossbow bolt actually whizzes about an inch past your head and into the pantry door.
Friends!
Hi.
And Estad, holding a crossbow, going, ah.
Hey,
Hi, we're here to try to get anybody. Well, we're here to get Candor out, and anybody that
also needs an out to out.
Yeah, there's
Just, the process of doing so only lasts about 6 seconds. So,
and there's going to be halflings attacking, and if things work out, the local guard as well, to break the siege outside. So we thought, let's get Candor out, and also anybody else that can move that's injured and
needs out.
Yeah, as well.
And there's a few other kids, mostly human, but everybody seems to be healed up, because the clerics basically just, when you guys turned it, the clerics just basically went full ham, because fuck these guys. But the adults seem to have no particular interest in leaving, particularly when told that people are going to be messing with the siege. And it's like, we woman who reminds you a terrible lot of Francine, although she has a rolling pin rather than a frying pan. Is sort of like, we may not have very much in the way of weapons, but we are going to fight for our home.
I was hoping you were going to say that. But is there anyone here that needs to leave?
Some of the older kids don't want to go, but their parents are nudging them in that general direction. And Candor, who's mostly sort of sitting in a corner at this point, going, "You came for me?"
Yeah.
Your family.
We came for
That's
you.
what we do.
He does not look entirely like he understands that, but if it gets me out of here, no offense. It's like you're in the middle of a siege line, young man, and people tried to hang you. I can imagine you probably don't want to still be here. Besides, there's much better food at Hearthhome, says Estelle, patting him in the direction of...
As for, look, yes, look. Don't give me that look. Look, I know you want to stay and fight. I know now is not the time. You will have your chance at some point when you're a little older. This is to make sure you get there.
Give me a persuasion check.
I was really hoping you were going to say that. Thank you. Persuasion. Did it go?
Yeah, it went.
Yeah, that
Oh,
way.
24.
That's a 24.
Holy Jesus.
Nice.
Yeah, they're like fine, hugging parents and eventually nudged by the nearest door at Darvin's. There's about 10 of them, counting Candor.
Okay, we're gonna have 6 seconds to go through this, so
Everybody brace and get ready to run.
form a line.
And they form a line.
Door open.
And 10 children and Hazel and Darvin barrel through the door right up until Darvin's just out when it becomes the you're in Hearthhome and you turn around and look and you catch one last glance of the shrine corridor before and it's the outside of Hearthhome.
Okay. We didn't. Okay.
I love this thing.
Yeah, but now we got to go back because they're still there.
It'll take you over an hour to get there. You never decided what you were gonna do.
Yeah, well, then Darvin's now like panicking over that fact, so that's why he's like.
I'm just gonna just reach for his face and just Darvin. It'll take us an hour.
Crap! We never decided what we were gonna do after the fact. And guards, and you're not there to peel them up off the floor, and crap.
Speaking of, while all that has been happening, you do have Alice sort of with the will you just do something already? Fight or
Remy?
run, I don't care.
Remy readies her shield and she runs for the guys.
Wait.
My tattoo.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh God!
I love you, Antheus.
He's got the higher dex. Let him.
I didn't get all that.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so
I love you, Antheus.
These poor fuck.
Given they don't have class levels.
yeah, this probably isn't
No.
gonna work out well for them. But
Oh God! Hey, that's just gonna be a pile of limbs.
starting from left to right, I'll just do an unarmed attack
So starting with this
for
one,
hits.
that definitely hits. Roll damage. Oh, remember, if this is unarmed, you have the gloves now. Do you want hot or cold?
Well, the spell does its own force damage. We were just doing
Oh.
unarmed for the hit check, right?
Okay, yeah. I just figured that there should probably, because we're doing actually unarmed spell attacks, there's got to be at least some literal punch damage.
Yeah, because if I understood that spell at all correctly when I've read it, it's punch plus force.
In which case,
Do all
let's
your
do the
bonus.
like ice or frost or whatever.
Okay, so that's +2 cold damage on top of unarmed attack, on top of the force damage.
1d6, and you said 2 cold damage.
Yeah, but that's a straight 2, not a.
Yeah. So that.
Yeah, he dead.
It's just whack.
Yeesh.
This is gonna go this way pretty much for all of them, I think.
More than likely, but yeah, roll damage. Yep.
Corpse.
12.
That one misses. So hang on.
Oops.
Okay.
That was this guy.
The middle one.
Sorry, and
Yes.
yeah, and that guy was gone.
Yeah.
That one's the one that missed.
Yeah.
Roll damage. He's gone.
It's just...
And last one. Ugh.
That just hit. Roll damage.
Okay. And I'll
TPC.
appear like right next to Alice.
DPC Blur dead.
At which point, Alice just steps forward with a slashing flourish and yep. So that's plus ice damage. Yeah, nope. She steps forward, does the slashing flourish, and cuts the guy down. Turns around. How about we leave now? And holds out a fist for Froseth the fist bump.
As we start moving, I'm like, Rose, that was awesome. Next time, say some of the rest of us.
How about
No, Seth, you keep doing that.
Pass without trace, please.
And be right back. 30
Okay.
seconds.
Fuck it, I'm gonna roll stealth for Remy.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Everybody else roll stealth, because I'm still doing a...
And it is, it is that plus 10. Wow, 30, that means 32 for Preston, Jesus.
And he fades
I am
completely out
gone.
of the story.
Yeah, 27 for Alice. Sorry, I rolled stealth for you. You crit failed.
Yeah, that
Oh.
makes sense.
Effective 21.
18.
Thankfully for you, I am
Thank God.
still taking an average. Remy is... part of the reason for the crit fail is her trying to argue with Ava, save some for the rest of us. At which point, Alice basically decides to stop that in its tracks by tilting Remy's face up and smooch. Shut up! And
Yeah, that works.
ease on out of the immediate area. They do manage to hear certain amounts of hue and cry from people who've noticed that their scouting party seems to have died of cracked skulls, and one's been turned into sashimi. And at around that point, you do also then hear the hearth halflings from around about the river edge going around Jenna's forge and smashing into their unprotected back line from... Because you basically wound up creating a distraction for their distraction And the last thing you hear before you get out of immediate earshot is what does sound like the Goldendale Home Guard taking advantage of that. And there's a certain amount of light coming from that area that does suggest that yes, the clerics got involved. Whatever's going on there, the remaining Black Crown guard has basically been crushed like a walnut in someone's fist.
Oh God.
Oh, that one, and once they get properly out of earshot and don't have to worry so much about the stealth, well, that went well.
Yeah. I figured expedience was best there.
Yes.
We really have to get you back to Belarus and save you up enough money for a permanent one of those, dude.
God. Monks with AoE. No one can stop them.
So, an hour or so later with Darvin, because he probably wouldn't want to be fretting in the Hearthhome main room because he wouldn't want to worry anybody. Probably
Yeah.
sitting in the Fort Cupcake sitting room, or pacing in the Fort Cupcake sitting room, and Hazel's just watching this.
Just back and forth and back and forth.
Halfway through, I'm just gonna grab him.
Mm,
And grab him by the shoulders. Pick him up.
Strength.
Carry him over to the prayer room.
Athletics check.
Okay.
For start.
Okay. Yes. This is gonna be great. 20.
Yeah, she. Keep in mind, he's a little taller than you, so it really is just flump over your shoulder like a sack of potatoes.
Stump. Open prayer room. Stump in. Set him down. Just kind of force him into sort of a rough kneeling position. Stump out and shut the door.
Okay. I just sort of look around. Okay.
Yeah, you will have noticed that actually the Bahamut symbol on the wall is quite new.
Yeah, I'm right in front of it. I'm just.
And somewhere in the middle of his lengthy prayer, he hears the door open and just Alice announcing, Froseth is made to fucking win, guys. I mean, okay, I provided a reasonable distraction and did get the last one, but 4 he took out. We have to save up for a permanent of that tattoo.
Yeah,
That was
because
pretty
he
amazing.
blurs and then everything in his immediate vicinity is dead.
Hey, where's Darwin, by the way?
And I come barreling. I stagger out of the prayer room going, oh.
There you are.
Come on,
I put him in there. He was walking in circles.
I was pacing. I wasn't walking in circles. There's a difference.
That's literally pacing.
Yes. Literally pacing.
Yeah, to be fair,
We never decided what we were going to do after we came back. I panicked.
I kind of figured you were gonna trust us to be the badasses we are.
Uh-huh.
Well, yes. But we didn't know. Okay, yeah, you're right.
He worries. It's what he does, apparently.
It's
I give him a
fine.
squeeze. We're fine.
I mean, they didn't see anything. They didn't even know most of these guys were there. I think the
They
last
didn't see a scratch.
I think the last one may have got a quick glimpse of Froseth before I kind of butchered him, but nobody else saw anybody else.
They literally didn't get a scratch on us.
Okay, wait. Remembering the fight we just had with the wyverns, or with the wormlings, I'm like, wait, you did the thing again with the okay. Now I'm sad I missed it.
He needs that tattoo renewed seriously.
Yes, we are going back to Arcane
permanent.
Inc. Yes, we are going back to Arcane Inc.
he becomes blur, and everything dead.
We're going back to Arcane Inc.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, and oh yeah, that too. Oh, anyway, yeah.
Also, once again, pulling out the key on the end of the paler with the paler symbol and everything. I love these things. I smooch the key and I smooch the symbol. And back into my shirt.
That key is definitely amazing.
Oh, also, Eston is a disturbingly good shot.
Yeah, he hit with a crossbow and it was like that close to Darvin's head.
You didn't announce yourselves, did you?
Well, we were in a cupboard.
You
Yeah.
could have open mouth. Words come out.
We did that.
Well, I did, but he shot literally as soon as I opened the pantry. I probably should have shouted while still in the pantry. Well, there was a rope with the face, and yeah.
A rope with
Lyra's
a
got
face?
a rope dragon. He was in the pantry with us and said hello by hissing.
He's his strangers, and I thought yeah.
Yeah, I can understand the panic. I can't. He only speaks Draconic. I can only do the Sylvan thing, and he probably would have bitten you on the nose.
From what little I've heard of rope dragons, they tend to be tetchy about people they don't know because they're afraid that people are going to mistake them for rope and use them for rope.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, Darvin got away without a bitten face, so I think we're good.
And a crossbow bolt to the head. So hey. None of the adults wanted to leave, or really needed to, because clerics. But all of their children, even though some of the older ones didn't want to, we got them all out safe. It was about 10 of them.
Goldendale kids are hardcore.
Welcome
Dude, I was
to Golden
surprised
Dale
I could. Yeah,
Mhm.
well, I was surprised I could persuade them. If I remember correctly, it was something along the lines of, "You'll be able to fight when you're older. This is to make sure you get there," and that was thankfully enough to begrudgingly convince them.
If it helps, what seemed to have happened on our end was that there, as you've probably gathered, there was a patrol, and they came up to me, and I was doing my spiffy magic, pay attention to me shtick. And Froseth kicked off his tattoo, and 4 of the 5 of them just, and they didn't even see him, because again, looking
Wow.
only entirely at me, and there was one guy left, and I got a very brief moment of shock on his face before I stepped forward and stabby.
I don't know, it was more slicey.
Yeah, okay, fair
Same
enough.
difference.
But
Stabby, slicey, tomato. Let's go.
the thing is, then Ava did the pass without trace thing, and I had to kind of quiet Remy down a little bit, Yeah. No, she just taps the armor, and but as we were backing off, thanks to the remarkable Ava's pass without trace, they came after their scout squad, noticed the very sudden, very quiet death, started freaking out. That distracted them, and I'm pretty sure I heard halfling battle cries on the other end, out by the river. And then I'm also pretty sure I heard the home guard come in, and things started lighting up, so I'm pretty sure the clerics came out. So
Crunch
from
Sounds
one
like
side,
they had a
crunch.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like putting a walnut into a vice or into Jenna's hands.
Ooh. Oh. Ooh, that poor walnut.
Pop!
Oh. Well, any cake left?
There is a little bit of cake left.
I am going to distribute that.
Yeah, I was about to say, Froseth, yeah, since you're the man of the, or pardon me, dragonborn of the hour, as it were.
It's still a man. He's just not a human.
Fair.
Cake is distributed.
Yes.
Yeah, if anybody wants any last minute stuff, because as far as I can tell, we're out of here after breakfast. Because while it looks like Goldendale is more or less under control, we still got shit to do.
Yeah, and
Yep.
the sooner we get it done, the sooner we can make sure that Goldendale stays that way.
Mm-hmm.
We still got a couple of things to pick up from. The name
You,
escapes me.
From
We
where?
did the Dragon Bane
Jenna.
things. Jenna.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we still have to get the stuff from Jenna's.
Yeah, that depends on what kind of shape. I mean, do you really think she's had the time to do any of that work?
Probably not, given
No,
the
I guess
punching.
not.
I would like to, if we have time, though, I would like to check in on her
Just
just to make
stop
sure
in and
she's
say
all right.
hi at least.
Yeah, and just make sure she's all right. She's probably fine, but
How?
Tell her that the Dragon Slaying food worked pretty well.
I'm sorry, can I just ask, depending on how long it takes for backup to get there and how long it's going to take for them to deal with the Black Crown forces, how are you going to check on Jenna?
That's a good point.
Point taken.
yeah, point taken. Sorry.
That may have to wait until we come back with a larger force that will allow her time to have done things. I know, Ava, I'm sorry. We need to let them clean house.
No, I know.
And while
I
it
know
would
it's
be
still in
great
good
to
hands.
find that, they've sorted everything, they're still a small force. And we don't know what kind of prep they're going to need to do for when the backup arrives. Because we know they've called for it, or else we would have been
Right.
wyvern hit on our way in.
Yeah, with
To our
everything. Yeah.
eyeballs and another flappy mess.
Yeah, with everything, I forgot about the third wyvern. And you're right. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. Your heart's definitely in the right place. And I can understand forgetting when there's so much else going on. But you said you wanted to talk to Faraday. Might be good to grab her to do that before bedtime.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I will. I will go ahead and do that.
I wanted to talk to Lyra, but that's just that's a small personal thing, more so than anything of relevance.
Well, I
she's
mean,
still here.
and mine is too.
Remy is going to remember
Yes.
her bit. Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to look through the bag once she has a minute.
Is there any vague thing that she might any specific themes of things she might be looking for?
Something relevant to Alice, if she can find a Paylor sigil or an axe or
A little minute, like a Thor's hammer, but an axe.
yeah, or
What
a dragon fang maybe.
what she actually finds, looking at something that sort of calls out to Alice, not so much axes or fangs or anything along those lines, but she does find something that was probably made from some of the bits that Alice brought back. It's a sort of a stylized set of wings. It could be feathered, could be dragon. It's a bit too stylized to tell, with a very pale blue chip of maybe sapphire, maybe a very pale blue diamond in the center of it. A chain hooked to each end of the wings.
So did Lyra want Remy to give that to her first and then
Pretty
go back
much,
to see her? Or?
yes. It's
Okay,
it's going to be an interesting conversation because nobody's told Alice about this.
Okay, so then Remy goes to find Alice once things are calming down.
She's enjoying comfy chair by fire and sort of going, this is not the kind of home I'm used to, but I'm going to enjoy it while I can. Sup?
Remy told something behind her back. Scoots up beside her.
Okay.
Dork.
I have a present for you with some amount of help from the assorted children, apparently.
Okay.
She's, holds out the
Wow.
necklace.
That's wow. Thank you. Why? You're not a jewelry gifting kind of person ordinarily, so
Well, ordinarily we're not going to many jewelry shops, and and when we might have had the opportunity, there are other more pressing concerns. But
fair. Okay.
also, Lyra has a plan, and I actually need that back for very briefly.
Uh, okay.
But it's important. It's important. She's gonna.
no, she hands it back. I trust you, obviously. Um, I'd love to hear a little bit more about why, but if you don't want to tell me, I'll just trust that it's important.
She's going to do a protective blessing, and she can't bless just anything. It has to be something important.
Well, then she's got the right thing.
And Remy,
Is this about
lean-
the black gunk? Aw.
Aww.
yes, it is protection from that in particular.
Okay. That makes sense. I admit I really don't want to know what would happen. And everybody else has it, so you guys worry enough about me. One less thing is good.
Remy just considers and just leans over, kiss her cheek.
Go on, get the thing blessed so I can actually put it on.
And she hurries off.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that she can catch Lyra at the tail end of Hazel's conversation with her, which is, barreling back into Hearthhome proper, where she's, tucking in younger kids, mostly Xana, Skylar. Faraday's still got another hour or so.
Hey.
Hi, Hazel. How are things?
Oh.
Yeah, her first, then you.
Okay.
Hopefully trending towards the better, because, well, the shrine is, at least as far as Alice I could tell, soon to be free of nonsense, because every one of the clerics got involved, the Mama's family got involved, and the Golden Dale Guard proper got involved. So any of the Crown Guard jerks left are pancakes now. You're muted.
I have to check in a little while, not tonight, but let's see if there's anything I can do in the aftermath.
You also met your rope dragon.
Ah, yes. I hope the poor thing is dealing all right. There's an awful lot of new people, from the sounds of
He's pretty
things.
grumpy. Looked like he's about to take a chunk out of Darvin's nose.
Given where I found him, not surprising.
And I'd been meaning to mention this. I met your family in Belarus.
What did you think of Allie?
Well, first the tea trays were moving around and flying, and then there were the little fuzzy things that exploded.
This is
And
not...
every time I even mentioned Sweetwater in egg, everyone immediately dove under things and started yelling.
Yes, there are reasons for that. How is Edvard coping?
Exhaustedly? He looks very, very tired.
He lives with Ali on a regular basis. This does not surprise me.
Am I present for this?
No, this is in Hearthhome proper.
Okay.
Unless you followed her.
I also met May.
Oh, she's been back from campaign then.
She's I guess having her meet Clarity was good for both of them.
Oh, that's always good to hear. I suppose Ari hasn't come back through that you've seen.
Haven't seen
Actually, you haven't even heard of Ari.
any Ari.
Ariella and Aliera,
Oh
half-elf
no!
twins. Ari spends most of her time sticking to ceilings.
Wait, what?
That's a very long story, and I'm not entirely sure we have time for it. I'm fairly sure I'm going to have a visitor on actual business at some point, but it's good to know the family's doing reasonably well. Thank
Yep.
you for checking in.
Ellie is still probably exploding.
That's home, yes.
I'm just gonna hug her and
Pat, 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 pat.
start making my way back to flop.
Yeah, so you've got own room to be flopping in. We'll deal quickly with Remy and then handle Darvin's conversation with Faraday before, as you can probably catch Faraday and Skylar because Faraday is taking over bedtime story duty. But yeah, Remy will come in at the tail end of Hazel glomp hugging Lyra and then neuming off in the direction of bed.
Remy, waits attentively until she Naoom's off and then steps up.
So you found something, I take it.
She holds out the pendant.
Cups it in her hand and actually sees some of the radiant travel up the chain a bit. She can have it back now.
Thank you. And I know you said that Alice she's not vulnerable, but has a different sort of danger that could happen to her. And I don't mean to be dismissive, but is there anything more that I can do?
Well, but keep prolonged exposure from that kind of thing. I suppose if the worst happens, because I don't know how bad this is going to get, I think it might be important for you to know what the third kind of Azamar is. Reaches up and touches Remy on the forehead. The image that comes is... It's actually kind of horrifying if you've seen Alice in full protector, glowy winged glory. The hair is flat, matte black, with maybe tiny tips of more bone white than the white gold of her normal hair at the tips. Her eyes are black side to side. The wings are still ephemeral, but they're skeletal now. There's sort of shreds and strands of what might be a sort of a ephemeral skin hanging from them, and she looks terrifying. If you've ever seen a picture of a fallen Azamar, that. It's a brief, mercifully brief image, but there is when an Azamar falls through deeds, through their own actions, there's usually coming back if it's handled right. I don't know if that I don't know if that would be possible with that kind of taint. I know what's happened to the drow, and I don't think there's coming back from that. So, I suppose if the worst happened, the only thing you could do would be try to find a way to cleanse. But trying to make sure that prolonged exposure of, like, say, being accidentally doused in it for extended periods doesn't happen.
Remy grimaces very deeply and nods.
But she seems strong enough. And she's got good people to protect her. I wouldn't coddle her too much. She wouldn't allow it.
No, no, she would not.
Just take the same precautions you are for everyone else. It's only that the end effects are a little more immediately severe.
I understand. Thank you.
Reaches to pat your shoulder. It'll be all right.
I know.
I reassure anyway. It's what I do.
Remy, just nods and starts
Alright,
to
off
pat
you.
off.
Yeah, probably crosses paths with Darwin on the way in.
Yep.
And Lyra just sort of, if you want to catch Faraday and Skylar, I believe she's telling stories of her flight over Egreth. And he does come in just in time to hear, and we buzzed this really big sort of building that was kind of like a pyramid with its top cut off, and there was this the governor man with bright red hair. You only see him for a second, but I could see him grinning and waving. And it was great. And Skylar is just, and then they look up. Oh, hi.
Hi, how are you feeling? How are you feeling?
Much better. Alira was helpful. She said that after everything, I probably didn't need to have the chest infection anymore.
Good. Yeah, you look much better. Oh, I'm so glad you're okay. Faraday, when you have a moment, could we have a chat?
What about? Inching towards Skylar and sort of, I'm gonna tell her anyway. So
Well, Bahamut.
and both of them in absolute unison. What about him?
Well, for lack of a better way to put it, I apparently drew some of his attention,
And
I'm not really sure what to do about that.
they look at each other and look back at him. Do you want his attention? From Faraday.
Yes,
And
but I don't know because of proximity to Hazel and Remy, and let's say I've got more knowledge of Palor, but not any really of Bahamut. So I thought of you two.
Skylar is just, I think you keep doing what you're doing. I mean, everything that I feel about this kind of thing says that you're doing right. Faraday then turns around and says, Bahamut, and I know the people that you met while you were in Equitas. And what I got taught when I was younger was that Bahamut is a god of justice and a, a god of hope, really. And he is very much protect those who cannot protect themselves, but doesn't really interfere if he's not really needed. So he'll maybe nudge people along a little bit if they've got the ability to help people who can't help themselves at all. But a lot of the time he's a bit hands-offy.
Okay.
He's who you appeal to, not by saying, please, please take this out of my path. It's more grant me the strength, grant me the wisdom, grant me the cleverness.
Grant me the tools to do for myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That helps. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is exactly the type of thing I needed to know. I'm thrilled to see you two getting along so well. You two are adorable.
Thank you. In unison.
I'll leave you two to get some rest. Much love to you both.
Are you going to be there for breakfast? From Skylar. Because Mom and Mom are making cake pans. And we...
Oh God, you too. Yes, I'll be there.
It's Xana originally, but Hazel likes it when we say it, so we'll be
Yes, she
we'll be
does.
juvenile and cute if we want to be.
By all means.
And Skylar going, and Faraday and I are gonna go out early, and we're both gonna pick berries for Seth because it's an us thing, but I can share with Faraday because it can be an us thing.
Yes. Rest well.
Can I tell about the bunny thing?
Yes, you can tell. Actually, did they see me as the bunny at all? I can't remember if they did or not.
Faraday did, but not anyone else, I don't think.
I don't think. Yeah, I didn't think I turned it.
It was entirely while you were in.
That's right.
Equitas.
That's right.
And Skylar is going, bunny thing? I held him up while we were flying. It was great.
Yes, by all means. I wish. Remind me, and I'll have Nye show you what I look like. Because yes, that was me.
They have a ballad as he's walking out the door. The ballad of the bunny bard. They think he was born a bunny.
I just walk off. I got my hand over my mouth. I'm trying to stifle the laugh because I don't want to wake anybody up.
Oh, by this time the other kids are they're curled up, but they're looking in that general direction. So they're probably gonna drift off to stories of Faraday's adventures in Equitas, and they're probably going to send them off to sleep with tales of toothsome desserts. Anything else anybody wants to do beyond returning necklace and probably fade to smooches?
Yeah.
I think Ben is nearly asleep.
He appears to be zombie.
I've been fighting off a thing for a while. It hasn't been getting better. I also got my flu shot yesterday. And it's doing a number on me.
Hey, anybody else?
So.
Okay, so on that note, I mean, we're just about at that time anyway, so we will have everybody tucking themselves in for the night, and we will reconvene in 2 weeks' time, hopefully with a more secure connection for Riswynn, and a breakfast of cake pans before heading off in the general direction of the Elven Wild. Later, guys.
Oh boy.
Stop making kids so adorable.
No.